Hey everybody, welcome back to Think Business Live, Take Five series, 10-minute, great, solid interview. Looking forward to it with Hart Kaminker. Hart, it's great to have you on the show. You are with Kaminker and Associates Immigration Law. Quick bio on you. Since being called to the bar in 1992, you've earned a reputation among clients and colleagues as highly skilled, compassionate, and trusted lawyer with extensive experience in all facets of immigrations and citizenship law, with focused knowledge in litigation, the processing of permanent and temporary applications, and reviewing decisions of immigration tribunals and international visa officers. Talk to us a little bit about immigration, and you specialize in getting people into Canada. And so, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what we do here is we help both individuals get into Canada. So those could be skilled workers, that might be tradespeople, professional people. We also help businesses if they need particular kinds of workers to come to Canada, help their business. So helping them get their employees, perhaps employees in associated companies that they have outside of Canada who need to be transferred into the operations in Canada, or just companies who need specific talent that isn't available in Canada. And that is becoming a more acute issue. I think probably not. It's not just in Canada, but a more acute issue with labor shortages.
Yeah. Yeah. And so somebody who is, like you said, I'm a business coach. And so somebody who's maybe expanding into Canada or needing to get their people to Canada. Talk a little bit more about that, on how you're helping, companies maybe expand their footprints and their employees.
So, if a company's looking to expand into Canada, then we would help them with respect to, we could help them with respect to setting up operations in Canada. That would not be something that I would specifically do because it's not my area of expertise, but we have colleagues that would assist with that aspect of it. And then saying, well, we need these particular key personnel to be in Canada to get our operations going. And we would help them jump through the necessary regulatory loops in order for those individuals to get the appropriate papers to be able to work in Canada.
Yeah.
That's,
and really how long
through the process.
Yeah. And how long does that take? And is COVID, as we seem to be a little bit hard I shouldn't say a little bit, it seems to be a lot of it in an endemic right now. I was just at a restaurant. I picked something up for breakfast where a coffee shop that was packed with every table. I mean, it was like pre-pandemic traffic in there. And so what are the COVID restrictions these days and timing as companies kind of plan some of this out?
So I think a lot of the COVID restrictions have been lifted. So Canada, up until I think it was February 28th, was requiring a PCR test within 72 hours of arrival. They're now they still require a test, but an antigen test as opposed to a PCR test. I mean, if you're not vaccinated, then there is a quarantine period. So that's something that companies would have to bear in mind. I mean, hopefully, as we move forward, as you say, transitioning from the pandemic to the endemic phase, those kinds of restrictions are going to be eased. And certainly, as I said a moment ago, like as with the U.S., Canada has experienced labor shortages in a number of areas. So helping to facilitate the companies to be able to fill those, I think, shortages is going to become a priority.
Yeah. I love it. Let's rewind for a little bit, because I think right now, many people are thinking about, their career choices, what they want to do. So I always, like talking to my guests on, how did you know, or when did you know you wanted to be an attorney?
Okay. Well, I think that was an undergrad. And when I was an undergrad is when I wanted to know. I kind of thought, well, I'm an undergrad. I was a major in sociology. And I thought, well, I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this. And I guess sociology and the study of, society and people, and that sort of seemed to pique an interest in me with respect to law and, being able to help people in that way. I mean, as far as practicing immigration law, that was not on my radar, and really came about as a result of jobs that were available to me at the time that I got called to the bar in Ontario. And and it never looked back from there. So there was a
Yeah.
job available in a firm doing immigration, went and did that, and that was, the rest was history, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. What advice would you give somebody, an aspiring attorney, somebody maybe who's in college right now, on, something to do to prepare maybe that you weren't thinking of in hindsight?
As far as getting into law is concerned,
Yeah, getting into
yeah.
law.
I don't know if it's anything specific. I think, I think with any profession, or maybe I suppose with any job, I think you really have to like it. I think if
Yeah.
you're going to do it, if it's part of your life and you're doing it all day, every day, I think to be good at it, you have to have a passion for it, and you really have to like what you're doing. And I think if you don't, then it's going to be difficult to be good at it. I mean, look, like any job, there are days when you don't like it, and that's just the reality. But I think overall, you really have to have a passion for what you're doing. And I think really, if that's what you're going to, so it shouldn't necessarily just be for financial reward. You need to also have that desire to be good at what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I was just talking to a client of mine who was talking about who's the owner of a company, and they're talking about hiring someone. And one of the questions I like to ask if I'm interviewing people for my clients, and I used to ask in my, different careers, is on a scale from 1 to 10, how passionate are you, or how badly, or why do you want, why do you want to do this profession? And to me, anything under a 10, because sometimes people would say, "Oh, about a 6, about a 7, so those are people that, they become projects, not the right people. And I agree with you. It's finding the people who have the passion is so important, even from a recruiting standpoint for people.
No, I agree. I think having the passion is a real key.
Yeah. Let's do a quick speed round, Hart. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
The best piece of wisdom I've ever received. Okay, that's a good question. I think as far as practicing law is concerned, I think, especially I mean, we also do litigation side, so that's appealing refusals. And I think the best piece of advice I got was, like, if you lose something, as hard as it is, you have to move on, because there's somebody else that needs your help, and you can't, because you have to be invested, but not to the point of this is going to stay with you for weeks, because otherwise it affects your other work.
I think that's such wise advice. You really, right, because you're going to win a lot, you're going to lose a lot, right? But if you're consistent, if you're consistent and you're planting seeds all the time, then yeah, I think that's great advice. Yeah, go ahead.
And I was just going to say, I think when you do lose, like, in some cases you just lose, but I think in other cases it's important as well to sort of understand what happened and say, okay, you sort of put that in your mental filing cabinet, or you put that in your filing cabinet to say, okay, when this comes up again, I saw what happened this time, and I'm going to do something different the next time.
Yeah, I
think that's especially true in law.
I agree. Do you have a favorite business book?
No, I can't say that I do. I don't really read a lot of business books. I read most.
Favorite
I'm a
book in general.
Big fan of history, so I like.
Yeah, favorite book. Favorite book.
Favorite book. And I just read one recently. I can't remember the title of it, but it was about Churchill during the in the lead up to the time that before the U.S. became involved in the Second World War. So Blitzkrieg in London, and it had a lot of, it was sort of interspersed with his personal life as well, like with his family and his wife. And I really found, and I really like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I bet that was great. Was great. Tell everybody, Hart, who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
I think, well, my ideal clients is anybody that needs help to come to Canada. And the best way to connect with me is they can visit our website, www.kaminkerlaw.com, and they can connect with us through there.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time to be on Think Business today. Think Community, if Hart can help you in any way, his contact information will be on the show notes, but please reach out to him. Hart, thank you so much for taking time to share your thoughts, your wisdom, and tell us a little bit about your business today on Think Business. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much for having me.